I'm going to be reading Truth and Lies Beyond Morality. It's an online essay, and there'll be a link to it in the low bar. It's based on Walter Kaufmann and on his translation of Nietzsche's essay on truth and lies in an extramoral sense. Throughout history, there have been few great philosophers who have been able to change the world. Plato and Aristotle shaped early Western history, but when the intellectual revolutionaries rebelled against Hellenism and Romanticism, Friedrich Nietzsche was in the forefront. He examined the social and institutional norms and was displeased. He saw the world spiraling downward in a fit of frustration because of the new wave of religious zealots in his time. He found personal disagreements that he expanded upon to form his own philosophy. Nietzsche's insightful understandings would become formulas and beginnings for entire generations of philosophers, including the illustrious authors Jaspers, Marcel, Heidegger, and Sartre. He published his ideas, and the world became a deer in the headlights of Nietzsche's powerful thought, existentialism. His individually developed style of writing, in that he provides a logical sequence of argumentation and asks his readers many rhetorical questions to which he has genuinely provided an answer. His thoughts may be difficult to follow, but if each logical sequence is understood, then the truth is in his writing. One of Nietzsche's early books focuses on the search for truth. He digs into the ways in which people use linguistics and how they understand the meanings that words carry with them. The question of the possibility of the existence of truth is the central aphorism that Nietzsche masterfully develops on truth and lies in an extramoral sense. He begins with the allegory: in some remote corner of the universe, poured out and glittering in innumerable solar systems, there once was a star on which clever animals invented knowledge. That was the haughtiest and most mendacious moment of world history, yet only a moment. After nature had drawn a few breaths, the star grew cold and the clever animals had to die. When the attempt at a true understanding of truth begins, Nietzsche has already set up his existential viewpoint in the story. To Nietzsche, human intellect is something that derives its importance only from humans themselves. There have been eternities when it did not exist, that is, knowledge, and when it is done for again, nothing will have happened. The haughtiness and self-importance that goes with knowledge and feelings shrouds the eyes and senses and deceives man about the value of existence, and knowledge's most universal effect is that of deception. Humans use knowledge as a form of intellect. The chief powers of intellect are simulation, and in man, simulation is achieved at the peak of its art. Deception, flattery, lying, and cheating, talking behind the back, posing, living in borrowed splendor, being masked and the disguise of convention, and acting a role before others and oneself are all simulations. In short, the concentration on vanity is so much the rule that the law of society that it is incomprehensible that man could make an honest and pure urge for truth. Out of need and boredom, man wants to exist socially. Therefore, he requires a peace pact in its crudest form of an end to the war of all against all. This pact carries what looks like at a first step towards truth. With this designation of a pact, we see how words become a regularly valid and obligatory designation of linguistic legislation. Moreover, since man designates words to mean one thing, then truth itself may have a linguistic designation, as can a liar. Nietzsche designates lying as, quote, using valid designations of words to make the unreal appear as real. For example, simply when a man says he's a woman, when the liar alters reality in a way that is self-serving and damaging to others, then society will no longer trust him. Man does not flee from being deceived as much as from being damaged by deception. What man hates is basically not the deception, but the hostile consequences of deception. In a similarly limited way, man wants the truth. He desires the agreeable, life-preserving consequences of truth, but is indifferent to pure knowledge, which has no consequences. He is even hostile to possibly damaging and destructive truths. Therefore, one must ask about the convention of designating words to actions or things. Are they really the products of knowledge of the sense of truth? Do the designations and the things coincide? Is language the adequate expression of all reality? Man is so deeply immersed in the illusions and dream images, their eyes glides only over the surface of things and sees forms. Their feeling nowhere leads to truth, but contents itself with the reception of stimuli. Moreover, man permits himself to be lied to. At night, his life long when he dreams, and his moral sense never even tries to prevent this. Man prefers the indifference to his ignorance. He likes to look at pretty pictures and never tries to get a deeper understanding. He will forever buy illusions for truth. What is a word? The image of a nerve stimulus in sound. The different languages set side by side show that what matters with words is never the truth, never an adequate expression. The thing in itself is that of pure truth without consequences. One only designates the relations of things to man, and to express them calls on metaphors. A nerve stimulus first transported into an image, then the image, in turn, imitated by a sound. A leaf can be copied, painted, photographed, woven, marked, and colored, but no copy will turn out to be a correct, exact replica of the original form. A picture of a leaf is just that, a picture. Therefore, a word is just a word, only an imitation of a real object or action. What then is truth? A mobile army of metaphors, metonyms, and anthropomorphisms. In short, a sum of human relations which have been enhanced, transposed, and embellished poetically and rhetorically, and which after long use seem firm, canonical, and obligatory to a people. Truths or illusions about which one has forgotten that this is what they are. Metaphors which are worn out and without sensuous power. Coins which have lost their pictures and now matter only as metal, no longer as coins. No one knows where the urge for truth comes from, and as yet we have heard only of the obligation imposed by society. That it should exist, to be truthful, means using the customary metaphors. In moral senses, the obligation not to provide an image of a false reality.